Well, he is one of the men who holds the cards in British politics, and which way he goes depends on who forms the government in the United Kingdom. We're talking about Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister. It's with his party's support that the current government was formed in the UK. Well, Nick Clegg is scheduled to travel to India. He spoke exclusively to NDTV's Rahul Joglekar about Narendra Modi, the Asian community in Britain, and the long-standing demand to return the Kohinoor diamond.
When elections were held in 2010 in this country, a new word was added to the political lexicon here, and that's Clegg mania. And that's mainly because of the real excitement that was generated when Nick Clegg became Deputy Prime Minister of this country. Thank you very much, Mr. Clegg, for speaking to us. This is your first interview to an Indian broadcaster. Thanks so much for doing this.
Not at all.
We'll talk about politics in this country in a bit, but I know that you're going to India very, very soon. And there's been a lot of excitement here in government about the election of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You're going to India. If Prime Minister Narendra Modi was watching this interview, what would you say to him?
Oh, I'm very excited about leading the first high-profile British business delegation led by myself to India since Prime Minister Modi was elected, because he has been so clear that his absolute priority is to get the wheels of the Indian economy going, to boost more trade, create more jobs, to pursue greater prosperity. And we, of course, want to work in partnership with him. That's why I'll be bringing this very prominent and large delegation of business people from different sectors, but principally aerospace, retail and higher education. Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, we're going to visit all three places. As you know, we already do a huge amount of trade, about £16 billion worth of trade per year. We think we can increase that to £22 billion very, very shortly. We have more investment coming in from India into the United Kingdom than the rest of the European Union put together. And of course, Britain is one of the largest investors in turn into India. So I think there's a lot we can do together. There's huge potential in the relationship. We share so much. We have so many people who go from India to the United Kingdom back and forth all the time. I'm hugely looking forward to it.
Would you invite Prime Minister Modi, through this interview, or you in a personal capacity, to address the Houses of Parliament when he comes to the UK?
Oh, I think when and if Prime Minister Modi is able to come and visit the United Kingdom, it'll be a very special occasion, as it always is when prominent visitors from India come to visit the United Kingdom. After all, there are the second largest number of Indians living outside India in the United Kingdom than anywhere else on the face of the planet. And the recent elections really captivated everybody's imaginations. Just the sheer scale of it. What was it? 550 million people are going to the polls. It is quite extraordinary, the scale of it. And so I think any visit from Prime Minister Modi or anybody from India, from any government in India, is a visit which is always very special to the people of the United Kingdom.
Okay. The relation between India and the UK has often been described by a lot of people as a special relationship and all of that. But the conversation is almost incomplete without talking about visas. And that's been a major issue, because a lot of students coming to this country were initially allowed to stay on for a couple of years to find a job. And now that category does not exist. And that's what has perhaps caused a really huge decline in the number of Indian students wanting to come to the UK to study. If a bright Indian young student is watching this at home, what would you say to him as the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom?
Come to the United Kingdom. Come to our universities. We have some of the best universities in the world. We will welcome you with open arms. There is no numerical limit on the number of universities who can come to study here. We issue thousands upon thousands of visas. I think our largest visa operation anywhere in the world is in India, and you can continue to live and work here after you have graduated. I think there's a bit of a myth that somehow we have stopped that. All we have said is that you should be able to earn a graduate salary of £20,000 or above. And of course, the vast majority of really bright Indians who come to study here are highly qualified, highly motivated, highly expert in their fields, and many of them do continue to stay on. And the new arrangements are that when you find a job, earning that salary, you can stay here for 3 years. That can be renewed for another 3 years. So actually, the full amount of time you can be here after you've graduated is longer than the arrangements which it has replaced. I, of course, will continue to keep this under review because I know there are many people who are worried about the new arrangements, but I would point out that the facts are sometimes a lot more generous, a lot more helpful to Indian students wishing to study here than the myths and allegations sometimes suggest.
Okay. Mr. Clegg, recently it was announced that the statue of Mahatma Gandhi will be placed at Parliament Square. We've spoken about a few policy issues. I want to talk to you about a really emotive issue. And a lot of people in India think that the Kohinoor diamond should be returned to India. Do you think it's the right time to announce something like that, or at least tell the Indian people that you're looking into this?
I realise how sensitive this is. I realise how much these historical events can still loom large today and inspire strong feelings amongst people. But I think it is worth recalling that the diamond has constituted a part of the crown jewels, owned, held, if you like, in trust on behalf of the United Kingdom by Her Majesty the Queen for a very long time now. There is no doubt in our mind that the diamond was relocated to this country under legal conditions which are not in any doubt, and that is why there isn't at the moment a suggestion that arrangement should change, but there is, I think, clarity in the sincerity with which the Queen holds the crown jewels, all of them, in trust on behalf of the nation, has done for many generations, and future monarchs will continue to do so.
Okay. I want to ask you a couple of questions that may be of interest to NDTV's UK audiences, and this is about an online petition that was launched a few months ago about making Diwali and Eid public holidays, or at least optional holidays here in the UK. Your thoughts?
Oh, I totally understand why people would want to see Diwali and Eid become a public holiday across the country. The problem is, of course, as you can imagine, there are many people who, from different communities, different backgrounds, different religions, who hail from different parts of the world, would also, quite rightly, want their major celebrations, their cultural, community and religious celebrations, also to constitute a public holidays, and that is why I think it is understandable that we aren't giving consent to a new rash of public holidays, however sincerely felt the petitioners are in wanting to see those new public holidays, for the simple reason that we need to keep the number of public holidays to a certain manageable minimum, and that I think still allows us to celebrate together the importance of Diwali and Eid to so many people in the United Kingdom today.
Okay, we've spoken about the Asian community here in the UK, and before I ask you about politics and your own political future, I want to talk to you a bit about this is an election year. A lot of people wonder that would it be in the foreseeable future possible for example, Sikh from Southall becoming the Prime Minister of Britain? Your thoughts? I mean, do you think that's possible?
I think it is entirely possible. Britain is a wonderfully, joyously diverse society. It's one of the things that I love most about the United Kingdom, is that it is on the whole, a tolerant, diverse, open-hearted, generous-spirited country where we celebrate people's achievements regardless of who they are, what their gender is, their sexuality, their religion, their background. So I see no reason at all why there should be a glass ceiling preventing a Sikh from Southall becoming a future Prime Minister, just as much as a young girl of a different faith or a different background might aspire to become a Prime Minister in the future as well.
Okay, and just before I let you go, I want to talk to you a bit about, as I said, this is an election year. Reflect for me a bit about where do you think your own sort of political future lies? I mean, do you look at yourself? There are two theories. Lots of people say that you will continue to be, kingmaker. There may perhaps be another coalition government in 2015, and lots of other people say that your party perhaps may not do as well as it did in the last elections. Where do you see?
Well, clearly for the British Liberal Democrats, the next election will be very different to the last one, because in the next election we have a record of government to campaign on, but also we have all the controversies of having been in government. In the past we were a party which was in perpetual opposition, and perpetual opposition in many respects is much easier than the difficult dilemmas and sometimes excruciating choices that need to be made in government, particularly at a time of economic crisis. But I am so proud of what we've achieved. I mean, just think back what the country was like in May 2010. A real sense that we were teetering on the edge of a precipice, predictions of mass unemployment, riots on the streets of various European capitals, a sense that Britain was going to topple next after the crisis in the Eurozone. And yet, 4.5 years later, we've got more people in work than ever before. Youth unemployment is lower than it was before. We've delivered massive tax cuts to millions and millions of people on low and middle incomes. We've given more help to children in schools like this. We've boosted the number of people on apprenticeships. We've given a decent increase in the state pension to people on the state pension. The list goes on, and those are all Liberal Democrat achievements. So not only will we be proud about our campaign for the future, we will also be campaigning proudly on what we've done in the past. And I hope that many people will give us credit for what we've done, will believe in what we want to do in the future, and vote for us next year.
Okay, so hopefully next year when I talk to you at the same time, you'll Deputy Prime Minister or...
Who knows? We'll see. That's up to the voters.
Okay, and we want to wrap this up just to give context where we are. You're at the Girls Summit 2014. There have been a lot of absolutely horrendous headlines about women and girls coming from India. Last concluding thoughts about this particular issue.
I think this is an issue which for far too long has lurked in the shadows. I think people have been reluctant to talk about, just as the way people used to be reluctant to talk about child and forced early marriage. People have been reluctant to talk about the fact that thousands of girls are cut with lifelong damaging consequences to their health, lifelong suffering and pain, excruciating pain. And this must end. It is illegal in this country to inflict female genital mutilation on young girls. It must stop, and we're working here across British society, but with other governments as well around the world, to make sure that this terrible practice ends.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Clegg, for joining us. Your first interview on Indian television, and we wish you luck for your upcoming trip to India. Thank you very much.
Thank you.